नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयरियाणं नमो उवज्जायाणं नमो लोये सवसां मंगलम भगवान वीरो मंगलम गौतमो गणी मंगलम कुंद कुंदाद्यो जैन धर्मोस्तु मंगलम सर्वमंगल मांगल्यम सर्वकल्याणकारकम प्रधानम सर्वधर्माणां जैनम जयतु शासनम जैनम जयतु शासनम जैनम जयतु शासनम. So today we will be doing chapter 3, operative consciousness, upyog. So this is again taken from Tattvat Sutra. So Acharya Umaswamy and we had read this in some other chapter. I'll tell you which chapter we have done it. In Vitrag Vigyan 1, 7 Tattva, and then in Vitrag Vigyan 2 also, 7 तत्व संबंधी भूल. So page 25. Yeah. So in the Vitrag Vigyan 1, 7 Tattva, that is 3rd chapter. That is again, that is where we did the introduction of Umaswamy. And then subsequently, this 7 Tattva Sambandhi Bhool is from Chedala. So then again we are coming on to this Upyog chapter from Tattvat Sutra.
Sir, just 1 minute. Also to everybody, if possible, if there is not much problem, then request everybody to keep their videos on. That will help sir also know, like sir also, see faces and understand who is there, who is not there. So whenever possible, unless really you can't keep it, please try to keep the videos on is what as another request by the management. It is only 2 hours a week. So if possible, please do that.
So what we can do is, if today someone are not comfortable, then it's okay. But next time onwards, we will see that everyone switches on the video.
The idea is just that your focus can be more.
Yeah.
The sir's focus and even our focus.
True, absolutely true. So it is nice that you attended that session and you got to know so many new things, and those you can share in the group, and everyone will get benefit. So the name of the chapter is Operative Consciousness, but a better name would be Active Consciousness. This is a conversation between 2 brothers, Darshan Lal and Gyan Chand. And this is a very important chapter, because through this active consciousness, we will be able to realize ourselves. This active consciousness is a part of our nature, and it is not dependent on any karmas. So it is part of our nature, and once we are able to catch on this consciousness, and just because this is a characteristic of the soul, so once we are able to identify this active consciousness, we will automatically get connected to the pure soul. So from that perspective, this chapter is very important. And it is also a bit subtle, because what we are going to study about is only known to omniscience. Our limited knowledge, sensory knowledge, and scriptural knowledge, it is not able to catch up the manifestation of this consciousness. Basically, it's a attribute of the soul, consciousness. In Hindi, we call it as Chaitanya. So Chaitanya is a gun, and it has two parts. One is darshan and one is gyan. So darshan is perception and gyan is knowledge. So under one attribute, we are having two other attributes, this darshan and gyan, and this active consciousness is the modification of this consciousness. Okay, so in Hindi we call it upyog. Okay, so the main thing about upyog is it focuses on one thing at a time, right? So a classic example would be while driving, we always play music, or we are listening to the music also, or if a call comes, we take up that call also. So there is a heavy fine if you are caught talking on mobile while driving. Why? Because many of accidents are happening just because the person who was driving was on the call. And as I said, our consciousness is at a time at one place only. So if you are focusing on the driving, then you are not able to listen to the call. And if you are listening to the call, then you are not able to see what is ahead. And that's where the accident happens. So this RTO has put up a very strong penalty on people who are driving, who are talking on mobile while driving. Just because we are able to focus on one thing at a time. So if we are focusing on, say, seeing something, then we are not listening at that point of time. But it happens so fast that we feel that we are simultaneously doing all these things. We are listening to the mobile also, we are driving also, we are listening to the music also, and if there is somebody in the car, then you are talking to him also. So many things happening simultaneously, and we think we are doing all simultaneously. But in actuality, our consciousness, active consciousness, is at only one place at a time. So if it is focusing on the, say, ear senses, then he is not able to see. And if he is focusing on the eyes, objects of eyes, then is not able to listen anything. So, but this happens so fast that we feel that we are doing all simultaneously, multitasking. Yeah. So it is not multitasking in actual, it is one thing at a time, but it appears to be multitasking to us.
But this multitasking is good or not good?
In actual, it doesn't happen. It is one thing at a time, but it is happening so fast that we feel that we are doing multitasking. So first it is this one. And then also, so if you are doing multitasking, if you are doing so many things at one time, then your consciousness also keeps on moving from one place to another place, and that is not good for us. It reduces our concentration power. So if we want to focus on one thing at a time, then we need to have our consciousness focused on one thing only. So multitasking is not good as far as our spiritual studies are concerned. And in terms of result also, practically, if you see, you falter somewhere. So at the end, you end up spending the same amount of time. So it is better to do one thing at a time, but do it in a focused manner. So you will enjoy also doing it, and you will get the desired result also. So multitasking is not advisable, and technically also it doesn't happen. So
But then can you relate this to the story of Srimad, who could do so many tasks and all correctly? So I'm sure he has that focus.
So that is not actually the multitasking. It is a special kind of knowledge. It's a sensory knowledge only, but very few people has those kind of knowledge. And when Srimad Ji came to know that this is of no use in the path of liberation, then at that point of time only he left practicing those activities. So it is, as far as our spiritual journey is concerned, it is of no use, and so it has got no importance in the path of liberation. But people get attracted to this kind of talent, and they feel ki this is just because he is spiritually inclined, but that is not the case. It's a special knowledge, and it's a very rare one. Very few people have it. Even recently also, in recent time also, it was in the newspaper. Somebody has this kind of knowledge, and he is again happens to be a monk in the Svetambar sect, and he's doing the same thing right now. So one thing is, it has to do something to do with your memory power. So there was this lady who was a good mathematician also.
Shakuntala Devi.
Sakuntala Devi, right? Sakuntala Devi. So she also had some extraordinary memory skill. So that is again very rare to find, and people do get attracted with those kind of gimmicks. But in actual, it is nothing but a special knowledge, and these special people have it. But it is of no use in our spiritual path. So it's a, I would say, it's a matter of our distraction from our path. So Srimadji also left it, and those who gets enlightened, they know that it's no use to it. You only get fame. So the enlightened ones doesn't want fame. So Srimadji stopped this, and he concentrated more on the spiritual development.
So this can be used as a myth buster, no?
Yeah, it can be used as a myth buster, and in fact, Srimadji also initially didn't knew this has got no importance in spiritual development. So he practiced, but then when he came to know that it is going to distract my spiritual journey, so he left those in spite of being so much famous, and people just get very impressed by such a display of talent, because you are doing simultaneously so many things, and you are doing everything correct, and you are remembering everything correctly. And there was one person in recent time also who used to play chess with say 10, 12 people or 15 people simultaneously, or 20 people simultaneously. So again, so he has to remember which game is at which level, at which position. So he used to remember everything. So these are there, some special talent with special people, but it has got no importance in the spiritual journey. In fact, it's a distraction in the path of our spiritual progress.
But this is not because of universe, or like all knowledge. What do we call all knowledge?
Keval Gyan.
This is not because of knowing everything, right?
Omniscience.
Yeah, this is not because of that.
No. This is only a sensory knowledge.
Okay.
Mati Gyan. It's only a part of Mati Gyan. And when we study in Tattva Sutra, how the full process, there is as we have a processor in laptop, as we have a processor in our desktop, similarly, we have a processor here in our knowledge. And that processor is working. It's working so actively that you will be surprised to see that he can do so many things simultaneously. So there is a process here, and we will study about that process in Tattva Sutra. So initially, Avgraha, Iha, Avai, Dharana. So whatever comes to the dharana, that comes into the memory, and from memory, smruti, pratyabhigyan, tark, anuman. These are the 4 steps, and those 4 steps. So the total process is of total 8 steps, and I don't want to load your mind right now, so I'm not going into detail of those, but hold on. When we do Tattva Sutra, we will understand that in detail, and at some other place also we will be doing it. So at that point of time, I will show you how it's being, the whole process is being operated. But here, we must know that Upyog is active consciousness, and is Upyog has 2 parts, Gyan and Darshan. So one is Gyan Upyog and another is Darshan Upyog. And in English, we call it perception consciousness and knowledge consciousness.
But sir, I would like to interrupt 1 minute. There are few karmas which you have to do. I mean that fruit But then, so
Your voice is getting.
because you have to do those karmas. You
So
have to
you
get
are
involved.
telling that there are some types of karmas that we have bound, and that fruition of those are going to come, and we have to just face those karmas, or we have to experience those fruition. That is what you want to say?
Yes.
So there are some karmas called nikachit karma, which even if it is a tirthankar also, they also have to bear the fruition of those karma that they have bound earlier. So there are some karmas of that category also. So just because of that, we see that there is a physical torture on tirthankar. So tirthankar is having the highest level of auspicious karma. So in spite of that, these things happen just because there are some karmas that we are bound that doesn't go away, that does not dissociates, but that comes into that rises, that have a rise, and we have to bear the fruition of it. Okay, so this is a conversation between Darshan Lal and Gyan Chand. I would like somebody to read it. Jinali ji, you only read.
Yes, sir. 1 minute. It's from the start, right? Because I joined a little late.
Yeah.
Brother Darshan Lal, brother Gyanchan, I don't understand from where father has chosen our names. Gyanchan, don't you know that both these names are meaningful from the religious point of view? The nature of our soul is all consciousness and perception, Gnan and Darshan. Moksha Shastra says operative consciousness is the nature of the soul. The activities of the consciousness and perception are called their operation. Darshan Lal. Is it like that? To me, these names appear to be strange. Gyanchan. You are correct, brother. As long as we do not know and hear things, they appear like that. Kun Swami writes, this being has heard talks of sensual pleasures and passions many a time, has acquired acquaintance with these and experienced them. As such, they appear to be easy, but has neither heard anything about the soul till today nor developed acquaintance with it. Therefore, it appears to be strange to him. Darshan Lal, Brother Gyanchand, please explain this operative consciousness more clearly so that I may understand the mystery of my name. Gyanchand, all right here. Inclinations of the soul connected with the life force are called operative consciousness. That is, sentiment and perception. These are found in all living beings and are not found in other substances. As such, these are the essential characteristics of the soul, which is recognized thereby. There are two important parts thereof, perception and sentiments. Darshan Lal, please explain the difference between the perception and sentiments. Gyanchan, that which gives a common impression, formless image, is called perception, and that which differentiates between the self and the non-self and gets detailed impression is sentiment. Darshan Lal, is consciousness of all living beings alike? Gyanchan, yes, from the point of view of inherent potentiality, all have the same consciousness. However, from the point of present development, consciousness is of 8 kinds: sensory knowledge, scriptural knowledge, clairvoyance, telepathy, omniscience, perverted sensory knowledge, perverted scriptural knowledge, and perverted clairvoyance. Darshan Lal, what do you mean by sensory and scriptural and other knowledges? Gyanchan, discarding the tendency of depending on others, the knowledge of objects in a general manner is called sensory knowledge, or knowledge with senses and mind as it is in different causes is called sensory knowledge. The consciousness that knows other objects in connection with objects known with the help of sensory knowledge is called scriptural knowledge. The direct and crystal clear knowledge of the material objects with limitations of matter, place, time, and mode without the help of senses and mind is called clairvoyance. Sir, should I continue?
No, let's take a break. I'll just explain up to this much and then we will move ahead. So, what is consciousness? So consciousness is the distinctive characteristics of the soul. It is that characteristic by which a soul can be, a soul is recognizable. Like we have matter. So what is the distinctive characteristics of matter? It is spars, ras, gandh, and varn. So these are found only in matter only. No other substance has this spars, ras, gandh, and varn. Okay. Similarly, dharmastikaya, also we call it as medium of motion, also has some distinct characteristics by which it is being differentiated from other substances. And what is that characteristics? Dharmastikaya is gati hetutva, movement. Okay. Similarly, adharmastikaya or the medium of rest is again a independent substance, and it has also got a characteristics by which it can be recognized, and that characteristic is sthiti hetutva. So it is instrumental in stopping things. Similarly, we have distinct characteristics of akash and kal. All the substance has its own distinctive characteristics through which they are being recognized. So consciousness is important in the sense that it is the distinct characteristics of the soul. So now if you want to know the soul, you cannot know the soul directly. You have to know the consciousness, and through consciousness you can realize the soul. So the nature of our soul is all consciousness and perception. So consciousness is Gyan and perception is Darshan. So we said, no, we always say ki Gyata Drashta Atam Ram. So the primary function of a soul is to just know and see. It cannot do anything else other than that. So we believe, it is our false belief that we believe that we are taking care of the business, we are taking care of the household, and we are bringing up the children. So we feel that way, but in actuality, you are just only a knower of those things and you are not doer of those things. It is all happening on its own, automatically. Everything is on automation mode and you are just an observer. So you are by nature an observer, and if you believe yourself to be an observer, then you are a enlightened soul. Okay, you are a realized soul. You have realized yourself. because your belief and the actual actual nature both matches. So you have correct faith. Okay. So
Sorry, Rajesh.
even those people who believe that they are the doer of these things, they are actually not the doer. It is their wrong belief that they feel that they are doer of these things. You were telling anything, Darshit ji?
Yeah, Jai Jinendra. Rajesh Bhai, when we speak about Purushat, because you said we are just
Yeah.
knower of things, but
Yeah.
when we talk about Purushat in terms of, like, for example, us trying to learn this Jainism course with you, if it's all automatic, then shouldn't it just happen that we don't have to put the effort in?
So you have to decide, no, it is automatic. And the effort that you put in deciding that is the actual effort. So we have some conception about efforts in our mind already, right? Like when you came to Nairobi, you had just a very few 1,000 rupees with you, and now you have made it so much. So people feel that you have done a very good purusharth, but actually that is not the purusharth. That is the by faith that you have got. You have already earlier you have bound the auspicious karma, and those auspicious karma has come into fruition. So that's why you are able to make good money. But what is then the actual purusharth? So the actual purusharth is the acceptance and the what I would say, स्वीकार करना, right? वस्तु व्यवस्था का स्वीकार करना. So accepting the nature of things as they are is the infinite Purusharth, Anant Purusharth. This is Anant Purusharth, right? So when we say that things are going to happen the way it has been written or it has been set up, so it is going to happen that way only. But you have to make that decision, no? Ki whatever the omniscient has seen and he has told us through his sermons, and that is going to be true. So now Krishna said that Dwarka Nagari is going to be destroyed, and there will be no one who will be alive. Only two persons will be alive. One is Krishna and one more, I think, Balbhadra or something like that. So everything was told in the divine sound that how things will happen, and people actually try to avoid those things. But it has to happen, so it happened. So each and every substance has its manifestation fixed in a particular sequence, and it is coming out in that sequence only. Nobody can change that sequence. Even the Tirthankars cannot change that sequence. Rishabdev Bhagwan got initiated into monkhood, and it is about Tirthankar that when they take when they get initiated into monkhood, they don't talk only. Unless and until they attain omniscience knowledge, they don't talk anything. They don't give any sermons or any lectures, nothing. So, in spite of that, he took 1,000 years to get that omniscience knowledge. So, a Tirthankar cannot change the sequence of anything. So how we can change? right? Because Tirthankar is having highest knowledge and highest auspicious karma also, but still he is not able to change any of the modifications. It took 1000 years for him to get this omniscience knowledge. So if it was changeable, he could have changed it. And he was knowing everything in his omniscience knowledge, but still he could not, knowing everything, but he could not change it. Similarly, I think Mallinath Bhagwan took 6 days to get this omniscience knowledge. And Bharat Chakravarti just took 48 minutes, less than 48 minutes to attain omniscience knowledge. So it is something that cannot be changed and nobody can change it. The sequence of the manifestation. So as in the movie screen, we see that one after the another sins keep on coming, right? It comes in the same sequence it has been shoot upon, and it has been processed upon or edited upon. So in the same way, this consciousness is our screen, and things reflect on that screen, the screen of consciousness, and it keeps on reflecting, and the sequence of that reflection is also fixed. So in that way, by default, you are only a knower and seer. You cannot do anything anywhere, right? So now, if you are able to accept this thing, then it means it's a high level of effort. Generally, people are not ready to accept these things. There's nothing in my hand. I can do this. See, I made it so much money. I did this and that. I brought up the children, and whenever there are any issues, I solve them. So he feels that he is a doer of all these things. But in actuality, it is happening on its own. He is just an observer. Now, we are all observers. So if you believe yourself to be an observer, you accept that thing and you believe yourself to be an observer, then you are a learned scholar. Then you are a jnani, I would say. So it is like that. And even if you don't believe that you are an observer, and if you believe yourself to be a doer of these things, then you don't become a doer, right? You believe it. So you have independence of believing whatever you feel like. You may believe that you are the president of United States. You may believe. So you don't become a president of United States. Todalmalji gave a very good example in Mokshmat Prakasak that once there was a mad person, and there was a big ground. So he believed that this ground is his. And then there came a king with his Sena, with his army. And since it was evening, they stayed there for the whole night. And in the morning, they started on their journey. And this mad person became sad. Everyone has gone, and like that. So it was his own, belief that everything belongs to me, and I am the owner of this land. And subsequently, when the king and the other army went away, he thought things things are not happening as to what he had thought of. So just because he was a mad person, he was thinking like that. And we are also mad person if we believe ourselves to be doer of all these things. Things are happening, each and everything, in each and every modification is happening on its own. There is no doer of any modification. If anybody would have been able to change those modifications, then Adinath Swami should not have taken 1000 years, right? He could have done it in one Antarmurat, in 48 minutes, but he could not do it. So this is a principle of Krambat Paryay. We have full one paper on Krambat Paryay, 90 marks, and we are really going to enjoy those classes. So this is the principle of Krambat Paryay, that each modification of each substance is, the sequence is bound. It cannot be altered. The sequence cannot be altered. So this is actually in the nature of things. And now it is on us to accept it. The moment you accept it, that you are an observer and you are not a doer, you feel you are able to enjoy that eternal bliss. The same moment. All the anxiety is just because we become a doer of things. And in actual, we are not doer. So in actual, we are not doer and we believe we are doer of things. So that's why our misery, the journey of misery continues. And we are transmigrating from one species to another species. And the moment we are able to accept that we are only an observer, our function is to just know, the same moment you feel relaxed. So this is something we have to understand, and not only understand, we also have to take a decision on it. We have to make a decision that whether we are doer or we are an observer. So then you have to put logics for both the things, and then you have to come at a conclusion. And if you are able to understand it properly and you are able to take correct decisions, then you become a relaxed soul. There is nothing on your head to perform anything. Everything is happening on its own sequence, and you are just an observer. Now, if you consider that earlier also you may have tried to join this course, some course, on Jainism. Everyone would like to have a course on Jainism. But when the right time came, you get the right connections and many people are able to join and continue. And there are many people who joins and then they're not able to continue something or the other. So it's all very independent. So if somebody is not able to continuing, then we should not feel bad about it, or we should not feel, we should not have anxiety about it, just because everything is independent, substance is independent, attributes are independent, and modifications are also independent. It is not dependent on anything, and it happens on its own. So one substance is not doing anything for another substance. One attribute, it's not doing anything for another attribute. Gyan is independent. Then we have Shraddha, right? Belief. So belief is different, knowledge is different, and conduct is different. These are three attributes, different attributes. So, that example, a person knows that smoking is not good for his health, but he has developed a habit for it. And now he's having health issues. And doctor is telling him strictly that if you further smoke, you are going to have a very miserable time going ahead. And he knows also that this cigarette is not good for my health, and doctor has also explained, and he wants to, so he, in the belief system, he feels that he should leave it. But the conduct is a different attribute, and he's not able to leave it. So every few hours, that temptation is there, and he cannot just leave the smoking. So that proves that belief is another attribute, and conduct is another attribute. You don't do activities according to your belief, right? These activities of mind, body, and voice, these are all independent. We have not a single say into it, but still we believe that we are doing this thing, and that's why the perverted faith continues. So we have to make a decision, we have to arrive at a decision that each substance is independent, each attribute is independent, and each modification is independent. One modification ago, you were one person was mithya drashti, and the next moment he becomes a samyak drashti. So both manifestations are independent of each other. Otherwise, he would not have achieved right belief. So these are some of the understanding that you have to do and make the decision. And once you are able to accept this and come at a decision of these facts, then the principle of Krambat Paryay you are able to understand. Because Krambat Paryay says also same thing, that each and every manifestation is independent of one another, and it's a flow, and that flow has a fixed sequence, and that sequence cannot be changed. So we are getting on our screen what it has to come, and when it will come and what will come is all prefixed, and it cannot be changed. So now you have two options. Either you keep trying on changing those things, or you accept it. So the one who accepts this system of manifestations, he is able to experience eternal bliss. And the one who is not accepting this, and one who feels that he can change things around, and he suffers the most. So we have to understand this independence. So Moksha Shastra says operative consciousness is the nature of the soul. So what is this operative consciousness? This is the active consciousness that we were talking about. To me, these names appears to be strange. You are correct, brother. As long as we do not know and hear things, they appear like that. Kunkun Swami writes in Samay Sarji Granth, Gatha number 4, this being has heard talks of sensual pleasures and passions many a time. So the soul is from time immortal, and we have taken birth in every dravya, in this universe. Every dravya, every kshetra, every kal, every bhav, we have taken one birth, not once, but innumerable times. And so we have heard this talk about of sensual pleasures and passions many a time, has acquired acquaintance with these and experienced them, right? So that is very natural to us. As such, they appear to be easy, but has neither heard anything about the soul till today, nor developed acquaintance with it. Therefore, it appears to be strange to him. So as long as we do not know and hear things, they appear like that. So there is nothing new that it appears strange to them, just because this being has heard of sensual pleasures, talks of sensual pleasures, and experienced also the sensual pleasures. But as far as soul is concerned, they have not heard anything about it. They don't know its true nature, and they have never developed an acquaintance with it, who are a learned soul, and therefore it appears to be strange to him. Then Darshan Lal says, Brother Gyanchand, please explain the operative consciousness, this operative consciousness more clearly, so that I may understand the mystery of my name. Gyanchand, all right, here. Inclination of the soul connected with life force are called operative consciousness. So anything that is according to our knowledge and perception is called operative consciousness or active consciousness. That is sentience and perception. Sentience is knowledge and perception is darshan. These are found in all living beings and are not found in any other substance. So any is missing and are not found in any other substances. So this is the distinctive characteristics of the soul, and this is not found in any other substances. As such, these are the essential characteristics of the soul, which is recognized thereby. So we can come to the knowledge of the soul just by experiencing this active consciousness. These are of two types. One is perception and the other one is knowledge. That which gives a common impression. Now, if you see just in front of you, you can see something very hazy. You can just make out that there is something there. So this is called perception consciousness. Okay, that which gives a common impression, formless image. There is no specific image. And that which differentiates between the self and the non-self and gets detailed impression is called knowledge consciousness. So when you are having just, there is something, just formless image, it is perception. And when you keep on watching further, and then you are able to realize, oh, this is a peacock, okay? And it has got different colors of, what you call it? What we call it, punk, different
Feathers. Feather.
yeah, feathers. So it has got feathers of different colors. So now it is knowledge. Okay. Initially, it was when you were just knowing there is something, not even you were able to know that it's a peacock. So that was only a common impression, formless image, that is called perception, consciousness. And that which differentiates between the self and the non-self. So this is a peacock and it is different from me. So this detailed knowledge, this detailed impression is called knowledge consciousness. So now you know both the definition of both the active consciousness. Is consciousness of all living beings alike? Yes, from the point of view of inherent potentiality, all have the same consciousness. No, all don't have the same consciousness. All have the same type of consciousness. Okay. So every soul has this consciousness, and the function of this consciousness is same across all souls. So this is a knowledge attribute that is there in every soul. However, from the point of present development, consciousness is of 8 kinds. So these are the names. Sensory knowledge is Mati Gyan. Scriptural knowledge is Shrut Gyan. Clairvoyance is Avdi Gyan. Telepathy is Manaparya Gyan. And omniscience is Keval Gyan. Then we have 3 perverted. Kumati, Kumati Gyan. Perverted sensory knowledge is Kumati Gyan. Perverted scriptural knowledge is Ku Shrut Gyan. Then perverted clairvoyance is Ku Avdi Gyan. So these 3 are perverted, and all those are correct knowledge. So in total, there are 8 kinds of knowledge. What do you mean by sensory and scriptural and other knowledges? So now the definition of all the 8s are coming, but our time is over, but I think we started late today, so we will take another 5 minutes. So these are the definitions coming up. Sensory knowledge, discarding the tendency of depending on other, parasray ki buddhi chhodkar. The knowledge of objects in a general manner is called sensory knowledge. पराश्रय की बुद्धि छोड़कर दर्शन उपयोग पूर्वक स्वसन्मुखता से प्रकट होने वाले निज आत्मा के ज्ञान को मति ज्ञान कहते हैं. So this is one definition. There is another definition, or knowledge with senses and mind as its indifferent causes is called sensory knowledge. So those knowledge which operates through senses, 5 senses and mind is called sensory knowledge. the consciousness that knows other objects in connection with objects known with the help of sensory knowledge is called scriptural knowledge. Okay, so initially you have this sensory knowledge, and with the help of that sensory knowledge, you know something else, right? The consciousness that knows other objects in connection with objects known with the help of sensory knowledge is called scriptural knowledge. मति ज्ञान के द्वारा जाने हुए पदार्थ के संबंध से अन्य पदार्थ को जानने वाले ज्ञान को श्रुत ज्ञान कहते हैं. So now I will utter a word, say pot, earthen pot. Okay, so that letters of earthen pot is mati gyan, and with that word earthen pot, the picture that is coming into your mind, right? That is called Srudgyan. That is called scriptural knowledge. So first, initially you have this Mati Gyan, and with the help of Mati Gyan, you are able to know something else, and that is called scriptural knowledge. I'll give one more example. There is a 2-year-old baby, and there is an adult of 30 years. Now, both are hearing that same word, earthenware pot. Now, the 2-year-old will not understand what is earthenware pot. Both have listened the same word, earthenware pot, but the 2-year-old will not able to go to the scriptural knowledge. Okay, and that adult, he also listened to that word of earthenware pot, and the moment he heard that word of earthenware pot, he got a picture of that earthenware pot in his knowledge. So that is called scriptural knowledge. Okay, so initially you have common perception. Okay, so initially first thing that happens on the knowledge screen is perception, and then after perception you go to sensory knowledge, and from sensory knowledge you go to scriptural knowledge. And this upyog, or the consciousness, active consciousness, keep on rotating from sensory knowledge to scriptural knowledge. Again it comes back to sensory knowledge. So since it it can focus at one thing at a time, so either it is on the scriptural knowledge or it is on the sensory knowledge. It cannot be both at the same time. Okay, for a unliberated soul, this is the limitation. So we will keep up to this. The other definitions that are coming up is about clairvoyance, telepathy, and omniscience, and we will take it up tomorrow. But I'll just confirm tomorrow morning. There is a teachers meeting tomorrow that was supposed to be happening at the same time. So if it is happening, I will take the class on Friday. And if the meeting is not there, then anyways we will be having our class. So I'll just inform you in the morning before 12 o'clock. Okay. So you can plan it out. So this is a very interesting chapter. You just read it once, and tomorrow we'll be finishing this chapter. Any questions for today?
Yeah, if you can just repeat, please, what scriptural knowledge is called in Hindi or Gujarati.
So, supposing आपने कुछ टच किया, आपको गर्म लगा, right?
Sorry, I just wanted the word. I've understood it, but I just wanted the word in Gujarati or Hindi.
Supposing you are touching something, તમે કઈ touch કર્યું, right? It was hot, you touched something, and you experienced that feeling of hotness, okay? And then subsequently you remove the hand from there, okay? So when you are knowing that it is hot, okay, that experience of hotness is the sensory knowledge. And to remove the hand from there just because you will get hurt, that is scriptural knowledge.
So scriptural knowledge is Shrut Gyan. What is it called?
Yeah, Shrut Gyan.
Can you repeat,
sorry.
sir? That is what he's asking.
Shrut Gyan.
Shrud.
Shrut, yeah. Mati Gyan, Shrut Gyan. So Mati Gyan is sensory knowledge, and this is Shrut Gyan.
And
so much.
clairvoyance is Avadhi Gyan. And what is telepathy?
Manaparya Gyan. So we had this word coming up, Manaparya Gyan, 2-3 times earlier also, but I was not remembering the English word. So today we are anyway learning about it, telepathy. And then we have Keval Gyan or the omniscience. So these are the 5 right knowledges. And then we have 3 perverted knowledge. Perverted perception, perverted knowledge, and perverted clairvoyance. Anyways, any more questions? Okay.
So we do Purusharth. Okay, but then if things are going to happen the way it's going to happen, then why should we do anything?
So that is what I just now explained, that to make a decision that what has to happen will happen, that is the Purusharth. So how you can say that this is going to happen this way only, this was going to happen this way only? You are not aware, no? What is going to happen the next moment, we are not aware. But omniscience can see what is going to happen to whom, when this Marichi will get liberated. So he was knowing in his knowledge, omniscience knowledge, but we don't know. So we have to put in efforts, right? We have to put in efforts for any kind of work that we want to do. We cannot just sit across that it will happen when it has to be happen. So you have to understand this, and when you are taking a decision that it will happen the way it has to happen, then the Purusharth comes in it. The Purusharth is included there. Then only you are able to come at a decision that it will happen the way it has to happen. You are saying this based on the omniscience only, no? Just because the omniscience had seen that Dwarka will burn after 12 years. So it came on omniscience knowledge, and then it happened like that. So then people had a belief that, oh, whatever omniscience say is all very correct. So it is like that. So Purusharth is in taking the right decision, right? Accepting it that you cannot change any of the modifications. So the acceptance of that is itself a Purusharth. we will understand it in better way when we do Krambat Paryay. But for now, this is enough.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? So we will close for the day. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 बार नौकार मंत्र गिनेंगे। जय जिनेन्द्र। एक मिनट सर।